Hey, welcome in everybody. Let me clear something off my desktop here. All right. Hello, hello, hello. So let's see what we got here. We got David. What's happening, David? Usual suspects. Steve from New Hampshire. Peter. Cool. Mark B. Cool, Mark B. All right. Good time, man. Glad to see you coming, checking my stuff out too. Mike's got some really awesome lessons and subject matter and tips to offer everybody on Friday night's YouTube class at the same time as my Wednesday night. And we're sponsored by Guitar Tricks. It's a great way to learn lessons on guitar, learn how to play guitar on the internet. Probably seen some of the commercials they've got and the ads. So anyway, they're doing real good about sponsoring us and promoting it. So tonight, folks, let's see. Hey, Second Chance Band. That's Mary Ann's band from Connecticut. Cool. Brandon. Russ, cool. Rolling. All right. Cool. Good deal. Yeah, so let's get in with this. We're going to do that. Today's the third week of 3 for the Texas Blues. It's the last one. And then next week, I'm going to be starting a 7-week course on beginning blues guitar. So I got 7 weeks on that because I know a lot of folks watching are more on the beginner intermediate level. That might be good for you there. Some of the stuff I might do that I demonstrate here might be a little above everyone's head or some folks' heads. So I'm trying to cover all the bases here. So we're working on some Texas blues, and we talked about it the last few weeks. Some of the artists that play that style, of course, like Freddie King, Blind Lemon Jefferson's one of the old timers, T-Bone Walker, of course, Johnny Winter, the slide player, pretty cool slide player there. Lightning Hopkins, Stevie Ray Vaughan for sure. His brother Jimmy Vaughan, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, definitely like that. And what makes it Texas blues? It has more of a swing, and it's also oftentimes has a horn section. Doesn't always have to have a horn section, but that adds a lot to the swing and the Texas type of sound there. Albert Collins too, and some of the new guys, Chris Doherty and Gary Clark Jr. are worth checking out as well. So, by the way, too, I've got a Stevie Ray Vaughan artist study on Guitar Tricks. That's one of the lessons in that I show the Texas kind of Stevie Ray's Texas Blues Shuffle, which we're going to go over tonight, everybody. That kind of thing. I'm going to break it down and show everybody because it's really kind of hard to get the hang of it. And when we see it in tablature and notes, it's still kind of hard, even though we might play it correctly, it still often doesn't have the sound. So let's dig in here and get started. So I'm going to skip page 1. If you expand the text box underneath the video that you're watching me on right now on YouTube, it'll have a blue URL link for the curriculum, Texas Blues Week 1, 2, and 3. It's just called Texas Blues Guitar, and I've got 3 examples. I was basically doing 1 example each week. Actually, it has more than that, but it has 3 big examples. So let's go over what we did last week briefly for the folks that might have missed it. And you can always watch these kind of after the fact. If you go to Guitar Tricks YouTube channel, they've got all the videos that myself and Mike have done on YouTube. You can watch back some of the old stuff. Okay, so take a look on page 2. Okay, we're at the top. It's example 4. I call it Shuffling Blues. We'll go over that briefly right here. You might be able to hear my kitty cat meowing over there. Okay, so we're playing a little cool blues rhythm. Let me get my volume up. I got to get that fixed. It's kind of a little crackly. Sometimes it doesn't work. There we go. Okay, we've got that little cool riff going, implying the E7 chord. And then instead of playing that for 4 bars, what I'm going to do is do 2 bars of that and then knock out a little short 2-bar lick. Okay, if you remember the blues form, we got to always follow the 12-bar form that's ever so popular and ubiquitous in the blues. Usually it's this, folks. It's usually 4 bars of the 1 chord on the simplest form here. I know there's some variations there, but the simplest form is 4 bars on the 1 chord. Then we go to 2 bars on the 4 chord, which we're going to be in the key of E for all this stuff. So the key, the E7 chord would be for 4 bars. Then the 4 chord in the key of E is A7. We're going to go 2 bars on that. And then we're going to go back to the E7 for 2 more bars. That equals 8 bars, if you're paying attention. And then on the last 4 bars, we're going to go to the 5 chord in the key of E, which is the B or B7 for that 1 bar. Then the following bar is A7, the 4 chord. Next bar is E7, the 1 chord. And then the final 12th bar is the B7 chord. So what we would be playing, folks, is outlining the chord change E7, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, the E for 2 bars, then the 5 chord B7, A7, A7, E7. Okay, now that's your pretty basic form, simple garden variety E 7th chords in the open position. But we're going to jazz that up. We're going to fancy it up a little bit here. So what we do is we play for the E chord, instead of playing the E chord, I'm going to make up a riff using notes of the E chord. That's how all these blues riffs sound really cool when they're not actually playing a chord, is most of the notes in the riff are in the chord. Okay, so the E7, if you remember from last week, we talked about that, the 4 notes of the E7 chord as a root, a 3rd degree, a 5th, and a flat 7, or 1, 3, 5, and a flat 7. The letter names for them, folks, is E is the root, G sharp's the 3rd, B is the 5th, and D is the flat 7. So I don't need to use all those notes, but if I use most of them, okay, it'll sound like I'm following the chord. I'm implying the chord, okay? So we got, and we do 2 bars of that. The first note is E. There's your root. Then I slide up to the 7th fret on the 6th string. That's your B note. That's the 5th degree. Then we got the 5th fret on string 5. That's the D note. That's the flat 7. And then we play the E again at fret 7 on the 5th string. Okay. So we got, the only note we're not playing is the G sharp. But like I said, we don't have to play every note in the chord to make the riff out of. Okay, let me just also poke from time to time into the comment bar here. A bang Faith. I can't see without my glass. Oh, Fatih. All right, cool. Welcome in there, sir. And then Theodore, cool. And then Dimmy. Hi, what's happening? Yeah, glad you're here, everybody. Okay, and feel free to ask some questions too. I'm going to keep playing and talking and rambling on. And as I see more people comment in the comment bar, I'll take a little break periodically and read some of the comments. And if you have questions, you can definitely shoot that out. Okay, so we got this going, 2 bars. And then we got 2 bars of a fill, a lead guitar fill that follows the E7 chord. We're going to go down on the 6th string, up on 1 and 2, and then sliding up to the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, 4th fret on the 3rd string. We do 2 sets of those, 2 triplets, 3 downs on each one. Okay, and then we're going to do a really quick slide from 4 back to 2 on that 3rd string, followed by a little pull-off. And a lot of these licks I'm doing, folks, I didn't really create the stuff off the top of my head. It's just you start learning the vocabulary of the blues from all these different guitar players, a lot of them that I just mentioned, and then some. And you start to see that there's certain licks that are very common. Everybody does them. So it would behoove you, if you want to be a blues player, a blues guitarist, learn some of these solos. Learn some of the Jimi Hendrix, like Red House solo, or Stormy Monday from the Allman Brothers, or Torn Down from Eric Clapton, or, you know, Clapton's got a boatload of great tunes. And he's obviously done his homework along with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Those guys, Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan, didn't make up all those licks they're playing. They've copied them from other guitar players that came before them. Okay, like Freddie King, B.B. King, Albert King, Albert Collins. Okay, it goes on. But if you do your homework and learn the licks, then when you play, you won't sound like you're just noodling around trying to sound like the blues. You'll sound like the blues. Okay, and then don't worry if it's exactly someone else's lick. It's okay. We'll never play it exactly like everyone else because we're all a little bit different. And that's what makes you, you. Okay? So this lick goes. Okay, that's the first bar of the fill. Then we're going to go open low B again, up on the high E and B, and then grab that. Third fret on the sixth string, and then second fret on the fourth. Goes. Okay, and I'm moving kind of quick here because we've got a lot of material I want to cover, but just check out the tab. Everything I'm playing and describing is written in the tablature there. And then, if you look on the left side of some of the notes, that's those little numbers you might see up there. Those are the fingers on your left hand that I'm suggesting you to use for the notes directly that correspond with the notes, the tab below it. Okay? So that fill goes. Pretty cool, huh? And it sounds like it's fitting the E7 chord because almost all the notes are in the E7 chord. We got the E, then we got the high E and B. That's the root and the fifth. Then this is your D note. That's your flat 7. The B note is your fifth. Okay, then sliding back to the A, that's not in the chord, but it's okay. It's in the E minor scale, the E pentatonic scale. And then I pull off to the open G string. G's not in the chord either, but it's okay. It's in the scale. And then we end on the root. And you can do a combination of scale notes, pentatonic notes with chord tones, and that's how you get this other notes sounding into the licks and the fills and the solos. I'll demonstrate some more solo work in a few minutes too, so hang tight. So we got that. Then the next two bars, bar 5 and 6, are the A7. Well, I'm going to do the same process. I'm just going to move the E7 riff we did down one string towards the floor in tablature, because tablature is upside down. It actually goes up to the higher string. Okay, and then those notes are notes from the A7 chord. Okay, and then I'll let you figure those out on your own if you desire. Okay, and then the next two bars are the E7 again. So we're going to play almost the same fill we did above, but I'm going to break it up. Instead of doing double stops, which are two notes at the same time, kind of like Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good has a lot of that. Okay, that kind of thing. Those are double stops. So here we're doing them. But instead of doing double stops for the second time of the fill, I'm going to play them individually. Other than that, it's the exact same lick. So we just change a little bit of it to make it sound slightly different, so it doesn't sound like you're just doing the same thing. Okay. Oh, I see David's asking, does beat 2 and 3 start at the beginning of each set of triplets? Bingo, David. Yes. So the lick goes 1 and then the triplets are 2 and that's 2 en, then 3 en, and then 4 en. So the lick is 1 and 2 en, 3 en, 4 en. Yep, there you go, David. Good question, man. Cool. And then the last 4 bars is to the B7 and A7. So for that, I'm just going to play the chords, B7 and A7. And if you know them already, great. They're just the open position ones. And if you're a Guitar Tricks member and you don't know the chords, you can go into their chord finder and just type in the chord and it'll populate with a bunch of different ways to play the chord. We're looking for the open position ones. Cool. Oh, I missed one of the comments. Kesso saying, hi, Dave and all. Being a holiday in Australia First time for me during the day for live, usually at work, 11 a.m. here in the morning. Wow, yes, I think you're already on the next day at this point. Yeah, cool. Well, glad you could meet it or make the lesson here, Kesso. Cool. So the last 4 bars, folks, we're doing B7, and I'm just going to strum it with a shuffle feel. Remember, the shuffle we talked about is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's basically just going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And if you tap your foot, you can see my leg. The pick and the foot should be doing the same thing. My foot goes down, my strum goes down. My leg goes up, my foot comes up, my strum goes up. That's a really good way of keeping the beat and feeling the music. Because if you feel the music, folks, you're going to play it a lot more from your heart and soul than if you just play it mechanically, okay? So try to get used to tapping your foot when you play. That'll help a lot. So on the B7, though, I'm not literally going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I'm going to leave out a few strums. So we're going to go down, up, down, up. Then on beat 3, I do a fade down strum, and then up on the end of 3 and down on 4. So it's 1, 2, and 4. So see on beat 3, I do a down, but I miss the strings. Okay. Okay, then we grab our A7 chord. Same way. Okay, same strum right there. I really like the way those 2 chords sound, doing them with these voicings, because on the B chord, the low note on the 5th string 2nd fret is B. The high note on the 1st string is the F sharp there. What's neat about this is that we do a little counterpoint. That's something that Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, really developed a lot of in his classical music. And we hear counterpoint all the time in music now. We can thank J.S. Bach for that. Okay. So what's happening here is the B7. When I go to A7, the B note, the root goes down to A. And then the high note, F sharp, goes up a half step to the G. So you're hearing the B7, and then the low note goes down, and the high note goes up. There's a lot of neat little musical games and tricks you can do if you know about the concepts, people. I get students talking to me about wanting to write songs and be a good songwriter and write solos. If you get familiar with some of the theory and understand some of these concepts, I like classical music a lot too. And I've studied that and transcribed a bunch of stuff. In fact, on a lot of my albums, I've put a little classical song, but done kind of with a rock style, electric guitar. But I take elements of that, and then I realize that they're using a lot of those classical tools in different styles of music that's not classical at all. A lot of, heck, when you hear like Def Leppard's vocal harmonies, they're doing all kinds of neat stuff. And a lot of other singing groups, same thing. Okay. So we got the B7, A7. Okay, and then the last lick is just a little bass line riff that acts as a turnaround. So this first part outlines the E chord. It starts with the E and the G sharp, the root and the third, but then I go into A, which isn't in the chord. It's okay, it's part of the scale. Then I play the B flat note. That's your blues note, everybody, flat 5. And then it takes me up to the B note, which is the root of the B7 that we're on right now. And we do. So all together, that whole example 4 sounds like this. And repeat. Okay, pretty cool stuff. All right, let me just check the comments again. Richard saying, on the double stop triplet, are you muting the high E string? I'm not playing it, Richard. I'm letting the fingerprint of my index finger touch it. So it's not there. But truth be told, Richard, if you do play the high E and keep your fingertip, your index on the tippy tip, that actually sounds kind of neat. In fact, I'm going to play a little solo in the style of Stevie Ray in a little bit. And I do that a lot, where I'm playing ideas on the third and second string. Keeping the high E ringing the whole time. Yep. All right, David's asking bar 21, page, I'm sorry, the 4/4 notation. What's happening there? How many picks? Yeah, and the software I use for doing the music here, folks, is Guitar Pro. No big secret. And I couldn't seem to figure out how to get it to restart the bar numbers for each example. So when David's saying bar 21, what you do is you look up in the upper left corner of every bar and you'll see a little tiny number. On the very first page, it's got a 1 because it's bar 1. Bar 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way over here. Now we're on page 2. The top of page 2 is the bar 15. So that means page 1 has bars 1 through 14 on it. Okay. So he's saying bar 20, let me see, bar 21. All right, let's find bar 21. That's the second line down on example 4, the E7 riff notation. What's happening there? How many picks? Well, you got to pick it exactly like the pick directions say above, Dave. So we're going down on the 6th string open. That's the open staple that looks like that, except it's squared off at the top. And then the V, the sign, is the upstroke. So we're going down, up, and then we're going down, up, down, down, up. So I'm going on the triplets, I'm going down, up, down, down, up, down. Then on the little triplet slide, I do another down with the slide pull off up on that 4th string 2nd fret. Okay, that's it. Now, sometimes I change that picking to 2 downs and 1 up. So I go. It's a little less motion on my right hand. It's easier for me to play a little bit quicker instead of. But either way, you could do it. You could even try, if you got a quick enough right hand, do all downstrokes. I don't, usually that lick's not done that way though. That's for the double stops to do all downs. But this one though, either you go down, up, down, down, up, down. Or you're going to go down, down, up, down, down, up. Like that. Okay. So yeah, there you go, David. Cool, cool. One last thing on this, and then we'll move on to example 5. Okay, so last week I mentioned how to turn this into a little more of a Stevie Ray Vaughan style shuffle. So what Stevie's doing is doing upstrokes on the top 2 or 3 strings and immediately touching the strings to stop them with the left hand. Yeah, I was just looking at the comments. Dave says, yeah, you pick it like the notation. Yeah, no worries, David. Yeah, everything's pretty clearly defined there, folks, for you in terms of the fingers and the pick strokes. Okay, so we're going to try to play this riff, but we're going to apply a little Stevie Ray Vaughan Texas Shuffle mojo to it, all right? Okay, so we're going to go down on the bass note, and instead of playing the bass note twice, I'm going to go up on the top 2 or 3 strings. And then immediately stop them at the same time I put my 3rd finger on the 7th fret. Then I stop them again. So all the upstrokes, I'm now going to do like this. So. So slowly, this is where it gets tricky, is to try to do that whole shutting it down. So start out slowly, just get the mechanics, like program the muscles in both hands to do what they need to do. Okay, down on the six, then a quick up on the top string, stop them. Same time, put your third finger down on that seven on the sixth string. Stop them again, put your index on the fifth string, fifth fret. Up string, stop it real quick, third finger on the seventh fret, fifth string. So we got it. Take it real slow. Even everything we're doing here is going to need to have the shuffle feel, the swing feel, for it to be Texas. Mostly shuffle and swing feel. But for right now, let's try it just to get the mechanics of it. Don't worry about trying to swing it, but just go. Just try to get your fingers to do. Just get the hang of that. Then, instead of it being really robotic sounding, see, that's really not a swing. That's more like just a rock beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Remember, we talked about the swing and shuffle a few weeks ago and last week. To get it to swing, you need to move the and a little further away from the downbeat and put it real close to the downbeat of the next beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's what you want. Okay, you get the idea. Now let's go ahead and switch over to example 5, and we'll just spend the rest of the night on example 5. There's it's only 12 bars. It starts at page 2, and there's a little bit on page 3. But I'm going to also share with you folks some other stuff too. Anders on Guitar Tricks, one of the other instructors, he has a super cool Texas blues lesson. So let me, if you don't mind, just give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to fish it out real quick. I'm going to share a bunch of links to Guitar Tricks for you. Hey, and if anyone's watching and you're not a Guitar Tricks member, they've got, I've seen a few ads where they got like a 14-day free trial, I think, and also money back guarantee, where you pay for your subscription. And if you don't like the site, I doubt you won't like the site, though. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of great acoustic guitar stuff and rock and metal, blues, country. Like I said, acoustic, finger style. It's all there. 2-hand tapping stuff, sweep picking, pretty deep. But let me share with you this Texas blues lesson. Okay, we'll stop that real quick. Oh, yeah, also, too, in Blues Level 2 in Guitar Tricks, the instructor Anders does a lesson in Chapter 2 on the 3 Kings, the Albert King, B.B. King, and Freddie King style. They're really cool. I dig those. I do those with a lot of my students. Gosh, where is it? Yeah, here we are. It's down in Chapter 6. It's called Regional Blues. And let me just copy that link. Hey, hello, Anders. What's happening, buddy? All right. So sorry about the delay, folks. Here we go. So if you're a Guitar Tricks member, you can just hit that link, and it takes you to Anders' Texas Blues Rhythms lesson, Texas Blues style. Okay. And then I'm going to share with you one more thing here from Guitar Tricks. This is one of my lessons from the Stevie Ray Vaughan artist study. That if you're a member, you can click it. And if you try to click it and you can't get in, you either got to be, sign up, join the club, join Guitar Tricks, or maybe you're already a member and you just forgot to log in. You got to make sure to be logged in to access them. Okay. So that lesson I just shared with you, the second one, is my Texas Blues Shuffle rhythm, which is a lot like Pride and Joy, but for copyright reasons, it's not Pride and Joy. But the elements are all there. And okay, let me just make sure that volume's working. Okay, so I'll give you a little quick synopsis here. When I first learned Pride and Joy, when the album came out, Texas Flood, many years ago, because I transcribed for all my students and a bunch of music publishers too, so I'm pretty decent at it, and I figured out the notes, but I just couldn't get it to sound right trying to play it. It sounded real mechanical. When YouTube finally came along, and videos on MTV and VH1, I got to see, you can see Stevie Ray Vaughan's live performance of the song. And when I saw what he's doing with his right hand and his left hand, the light bulb went off. It's like, oh, okay. Because I was trying to play everything. Okay, I had the notes right, but it just quite didn't sound right. Even with the shuffle feel, it still didn't sound right. All right. So once I saw the videos, I spent a lot of time studying them. You can see his right hand just keeps doing this. Okay. It looks like he's touching the strings, and then he's off, and then he's gripping. Okay. And the right hand's just doing all downs and ups the whole time. Downs on the downbeat, ups on the upbeat, just like I've been preaching to everybody. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay. So if we take example number 5, just the first 2 bars, okay, it looks like this. Just slowly. Okay, now let's give it a shuffle feel. We're going to kind of step in phases to get our ultimate goal. Kind of like that. And if that was just a little too much for you, which I understand, just try doing the bass notes. Don't worry about the high notes, and do all downstrokes on the bass. Go like this. This symbol, folks, what I'm doing is playing example 5 here. These first 2 bars, that symbol in the next 2 bars, there's nothing written there. That means repeat the 2 previous bars again. All right, so basically I'm going to do this and then again right there. So just try to play it a couple times. Just the bass. Sounds like a bass line. For the A, I just moved down the string. And then back to the E. Okay, let's just stop there. There's a little more on the next page. We'll get to that in a minute. And let me see what David's saying. Yeah, feel free, folks, to put some comments or questions down, because we don't want David to feel lonely and be the only one making most of the comments. What's he saying here? Seems to have better luck getting the SRV shuffle rhythm strum with a Strat than anything else with hotter pickups. Yeah, definitely. I should have put out my Strat for this, but it sounds not too bad on this guitar to my ears. If I do it on like that Eddie Van Halen one over there, or any of my Les Pauls, it definitely sounds too mushy and big and fat. The Strat sounds great on it, but this one too also doesn't sound too bad. If you get the right feel and the mechanics of it, it sounds believable. T-Bone Walker, he's a Texas blues guitar player. He's the guy that wrote Stormy Monday. He played a big hollow body guitar. Freddie King, he played a 335. That's why Eric Clapton's got that red one that he plays, because Eric's in love with Freddie King's playing. Okay. In fact, Eric did a bunch of his songs. Have You Ever Loved a Woman is Freddie King. I'm Torn Down is Freddie King. These are all songs that Clapton redid. Okay, so we got the bass line, folks. Just get that down. And then once you get this happening, then try to insert your upstrokes. Once you get the bass line down, try to insert your upstrokes in between those notes. Okay, that was with the straight feel. We need the shuffle or the swing feel. That's why it's called Texas Shuffle. Okay. So what you do is you play the down, and as soon as you do the up, you immediately go to the down on the next bass note. I'll exaggerate it. Check it out. See how that works? And then when I put my finger down, we've got to also mute the high E and B because we don't want them ringing. See, that doesn't sound right. You got to, as I put my finger on the bass note, I let my index finger and middle finger dampen the high strings so they stop ringing. Okay, Russ is saying, like the tip of starting with just the bass note. Cool. Yeah, Russ, for sure. Yeah, guys and ladies watching, just approach this in pieces. You know, don't feel you got to constantly play the whole thing. Sometimes it's good to break things down. In fact, when we do solos, when I teach solos to students, it's good to play through one time just to see what's coming. But when you get down, roll up your sleeves, and you're going to start practicing, don't keep trying to play the whole solo. Stop and just learn the first 2 bars or the first 2 licks, or maybe even the first lick, and don't move on until you've got that pretty much wired. See, the problem, if you learn too much too fast, we don't remember it. It just goes out the door. Plus, when you do things over and over again, that's what practice is, right? You're training the muscles. The muscles, you've heard of the term muscle memory? Your fingers are going to start to remember where to go because you've done it so many times. If you only do it a few times, of course they're not going to remember. Of course your brain's not going to remember. Okay? So practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Okay? So when you practice, folks, you need to work on just a little bit and get it down before you start adding the next part. Okay? So kind of like what I'm showing here, and Russ, appreciate the acknowledgement there, the kudos that helped you just to do the bass notes. And then once that's down, insert the up on the high ones. Don't worry about the shuffle feel yet. Just get the mechanics and then build it in layers. It's going to take time, people. It took me a while to get it, but it's kind of like riding a bike. Once you get the hang of it, it's easy. And you can walk away. You know, I can go, months without playing this type of music. And then when I start teaching it or playing it again, it comes back just like that because I learned it properly. I finally got it down, practiced it enough so it was muscle memory, and then you get it. Like, for instance, let me demonstrate something here. This is the Stevie Ray Vaughan Texas Shuffle Artist Study and Guitar Tricks, okay? I'm going to see if I can play. What I'm going to do is do the rhythm, 12 bars rhythm. Then I'm going to do a short 12-bar solo in the style of Stevie Ray. And then I'm going to come back in with the rhythm and then end it. So it'll be like a little mini song. Okay, no backing track. I'm just going to play by myself. So what's important is that when you play, you also play in rhythm. Because if you're not playing in time, the listener is going to lose the beat. So I'm going to always try to keep the time going, tap my foot for the most part. And then all the licks I'm playing are focused around the particular chord that I'm playing over at that time. Okay, so here we go. Well, let me change my pickup. 2, 3. Wait. Yeah, let's do that. 2, 3, 4. I like that better. Voila. All right, so a little sloppy on the solo, but you get the idea. I learned a lot of Stevie's licks and solos, and you just realize, too, from doing that, and also learning Freddie King stuff and some other guitar players from the past, Buddy Guy, too. Stevie Ray Vaughan's playing a lot of their licks. So it's okay to borrow from each other, okay? And don't feel bad about stealing some other guitar player's licks, because we all do it. Okay, let me check out the comments here. Cool. All right, thanks, everybody. Yeah. David's saying there are 6, 7 different songs on Guitar Tricks. Do you recommend any particular one as a jumping off point? Yeah, you're right. In fact, I did one of those. And I'm pretty sure Anders did the bulk of the other ones. I'd have to do that. That's what I'm going for. Right on, Mark. Hey, Mark, check. Are you a member of Guitar Tricks? And if not, you might want to check them out. I also give private lessons, Mark, online through Guitar Tricks, and then also you can hook up with me through my website, davecelentano.com, and there's a link there that promotes my online guitar lessons. I can really help you get on track if that's what you need some help with. I got curriculum. If you're a Guitar Tricks member, we'll also use Guitar Tricks because there's a ton of great lessons there as well. Kessa saying, sorry, I have to go early. Brilliant lesson. Thanks. We'll follow up with those links. Hey, Kesso, yeah, thanks for coming, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, cool. David's asking about the Stevie Ray Vaughan. David, let's, without me spending a little bit of time here on that, let me, well, you know what? Heck, pardon my language there. Let me go into this. I'll find one for you real quick. And they got a search bar in Guitar Tricks, which I'm just doing here, search area. And it's real easy. Just type in what you're looking for, and the stuff should come up. Yeah, they got Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's actually a really cool one, David. A good rhythm guitar as well. The Sky is Crying is cool, but it's mostly solos, lead stuff. Really good. Willie the Wimp is cool. Crossfire, yep. Let Me Love You, Baby is one that I did. And then Close to You is Mike Alexi did that one. Cool. Yeah, I would check out Mary Had a Little Lamb, David, because that's got some really good rhythm work and lead. But none of those songs that I recall have this particular Texas Shuffle rhythm that we're talking about tonight. But that's something I can work with you during our lessons, David. I know you and me got a lot going on with what you're currently working on, but we can always seem to squeeze that in there if you want. Okay, so let me just check out. We got on the Texas Shuffle that we just did, everybody. We did the first 8 bars. That's at the bottom of page 2. Now look at page 3. I just kind of took the ending of the Shuffling Blues and applied it here. We got the B7. But the ending's a little different. See, that's another variation. You can go as the last bar, or you can go, I'm sorry. That's always neat too, to do a little walk up. Like you play we're in the key of E, you play the E blues scale. Just literally walk up the E blues scale. And then grab your B7 chord while that note's ringing, and then go up, down. See, there's another variation you can do on it too. You could play a B7, and instead of going down to A7, you can go up to I just take the B chord and raise it a half step to C7. But I'd be careful to mute the second string, because that actually sounds really bad. So I make sure it's muted by my first finger, so you don't hear it. And back in with the rhythm there. So on that rhythm riff, folks, I'm taking what we just did. Let me go back to that page. Make sure we're talking about the right notes. So on the example 5 on page 2 is basically this. Okay, that thing. But what I'm doing to give a little variation, it's always neat too. Once you learn something, see if you can play some little variations on it. So instead of going, I'm going to go. A little pull-off lick. That's in the Stevie Ray Vaughan artist study that's on Guitar Tricks that I shared the link with. So just on the last beat, I play the first 7 beats with exactly like example 5. And then on the last beat, instead of, I go a little pull off and then repeat it. Okay. Now, how about this? We got a little bit of time left here. I know it's not in the curriculum there, but let me go through a few things on the solo that I played. All right. And that's also on the Stevie Ray Vaughan artist study. It's the next lesson underneath the Texas Shuffle rhythm. It's the solo that goes with it, because you can put the two together like I just did. So what I'm doing here, and this answers one of the viewer's questions earlier, if I'm playing the high E string while I'm doing the double stops. And in this case, I am. In the example 4, Shuffling Blues, I'm not, but in this one I am. Okay, so what I'm doing is all downstrokes on the 3rd fret 2nd string, 4th fret 3rd string, and the open high E string. And I'm sliding into those two as triplets. So I'm going 1 E and 2 E and. Then on the next beat, I do hit that chord once and slide up 2 frets. So it's 3 E and 4 E and. So I go down, slide up, don't pick it, and then 4 more downs. And then I do that again and slide up 3 frets this time. And then I do it again and slide up 4 frets. There's a reason for this, and I'll explain it to you. But that's just kind of a neat little thing, just observation. The first one I slide 2 frets. The next one I slide 3 frets. The next one I slide 4 frets. I'll detail that with you in 2 secs, and then we'll see why that's the case. And then I slide up 3 frets, so that blows our whole idea of it expanding from 2 to 3 to 4. The next one's not 5, it's 2. 3. And then back to 2 again. Okay, like that. So all of those sound good and are implied over the E7 chord. Well, right off the top, the high E, well, that's the root note. That's going to fit because it's the root note of the chord we're playing over. Nothing sounds better, folks, than playing chord tones for resolve, okay? And then you can always add other scale notes and outside notes for color, but the chord tones always sound a little more melodic. It makes it sound like you're following a chord progression. Gives it a little more musicality, okay? So right off the top, that's your D note and your B note, the flat 7 and the 5th of the E chord. Okay, that I just slide up to the 5th fret, 2nd string. That's your E. That's the root note. 3rd string is the C sharp on the 6th fret. That's not in the chord, but it's the 6th degree. 6s in blues sound really good. In fact, a lot of the B.B. King stuff involves 6s too. When you play the B.B. King box in the key of, well, if I do it in E, because that's the key we're in. Okay. There's your C sharp. And by the way, on the beginning blues guitar, 7 weeks that I'm going to do starting next week, we're going to talk about the blues boxes. So we'll go over that then. It'd be a good time to talk about it in more detail. Okay. Anyway, that's kind of like out of the B.B. King box area. And then sliding up to the 8th on the 2nd string, that's your G note. Well, that's not in the chord either, but that's the flat 3rd. And those notes actually work really good in the blues. A lot of guitarists will play the flat 3rd and then hammer onto the major 3rd. Okay, now granted, I'm not sliding from the G to the G sharp, but the surrounding notes are the high E, and the 9 on the 3rd string is the E again. All right, so it's the G kind of gives it a little rub, like it's not quite resolved. That's fine. And when I slide up to the 12th fret on the 2nd string, 13 on the 3rd string, well, there's your B note, that's the 5th, and there's your G sharp, that's the 3rd. Those are, bam, those are in the chord. And then I slide up 3 frets. That's exactly where we started. We come full circle, but I'm at the octave. So that's the flat 7 and 5th. And then I slide up a whole step like this. And that goes into the B.B. King box area. Okay, so that's kind of how those are justified. Okay, then we do a little Albert King box lick. Okay, that's very bluesy. You bend it, let it down and pull off. See, they're separate licks. So you want to, if you're learning solos like this, don't try to keep playing the whole thing. Just work with the double stops. Get that to sound. And once that's pretty solid, and you can do it, at least 3 times in a row with no mistakes or almost no mistakes, then you're ready to move on to the next part. We need to be patient, everybody, too. I think a lot of guitar players think this is going to be easy and they're going to get good quick. If you want to get good, be prepared to roll your sleeves up and spend some serious time practicing with the metronome, learning other songs from other artists, practicing your scales. And the important thing is fall in love with playing your music. Fall in love with playing the guitar. If you love doing it, if you love hanging out with a best friend, or you love doing something else, you do it because you have a burning passion in your heart to do it. If you fall in love with guitar, it'll be the same way. It won't be like, oh, geez, do I got to practice again? I don't know if I have time. Just try to find 15 minutes a day, a half hour a day. It's not that much. If you really love it, try to squeeze in that little bit of time. Okay. And real quick, and I will finish up this lesson here. We're almost done. And then I see David said something. Let me quickly throw this out to you. It's better to practice a little bit every day, even if you just do a half hour. All right. If you did a half hour every day all week long, that's 3.5 hours. That's better than if you spot, maybe one time during the week you play for an hour, and then on Saturday you do 3 or 4 hours, or you maybe do 2 hours on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. It's better than nothing, everybody, but you'll do better if you pick, the more often you can have this piece of wood with these 6 metal wires in your hands and you're playing stuff, the more frequently, the better, rather than, just doing like 3.5 hours or 4 hours on Saturday, which is okay, but it's better if you spread that out over a little bit every day. Okay. That's really one of the big things, is try to pick it up every day or almost every day. That'll get you good quick. Yeah. All right. David's saying, that's one of my questions for tomorrow. That's right. We got a lesson tomorrow. Cool. Why does the 6th sound so good and bending up to the 7th? Found myself liking the 6th more than the 7th over the 7th chord. Well, yeah, the 6th is not in the chord, Dave, but it adds a nice color. And if you do the 6th an octave higher, it functions as the 13th, that's a really nice chord, like E13. It's kind of jazzy, but it has, when you start adding notes that aren't in the chord, provided they're not hideous notes like the flat 5 or a minor second, those notes sound really bad. Okay, that's kind of ugly, unless you're playing a dominant 7th chord, because there's a flat 5 built into every dominant 7th chord. Most of the time you don't. Yeah, you know what? I take back the flat 5, because there is a flat 5 interval in the dominant 7th chords, and that's all we're doing here in the blues is dominant 7th chords. But like a minor second, you're playing an E, the minor second would be like an F note. So if we added an F note in, just kind of rubs wrong. All right, we got just a few more minutes with you. So we talked about the Albert King box. Let me take this one more time from here. And there's a slick little move that I heard Stevie do a lot, where he does a little quick slide. And he'll often do that too, where he'll play a lick on the 12th fret E pentatonic, and then he'll slide down to the octave lower here. With it. And these pickups in the 335 are not really that hot sounding, so they don't sound too bad for the shuffle, even though it would sound a little better on a Strat for sure. I agree with you, David, on that one. So why don't everybody join me next week? We're going to move on to week 1 of beginning blues guitar, and I'll be starting out with some really basic things for everybody. And then definitely a lot of questions and answers. And then we'll go over this stuff. And I always like to show something and then change it up a little bit. Okay. And then break it down and see why it works and how you could add and take away things. Okay. So let me close out with that same piece one more time from the top. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's all. What I played, the rhythm and the solo, is in the Stevie Ray Vaughan Artist Study. If you are interested with that, you can check that out. You can also reach out to me. I got live one-on-one lessons through the internet and through Guitar Tricks. So if you need some extra help with that, it's always a good idea to have somebody that's knowledge that can help you correct things, because sometimes we get bad habits going, and you know what it's like to relearn something when you've played it wrong for quite a while. It's almost harder to relearn it than if you just learned it the right way the first time. So food for thought, everybody. I'm available to help anyone out if you need a little extra help. You can email me on the forum on Guitar Tricks if you're a member, or you can email me from my website, davesonantano.com. And then booking lessons with me and some of the other instructors in Guitar Tricks you can find the link right there on the homepage for Guitar Tricks. So I'm going to wrap it up, everyone. Thank you very much. Brandon, you're welcome, man. Second Chance Band, Connecticut. You're welcome, Marianne. Cool. Terry, awesome. Richard, cool. All right, appreciate it. Steve in New Hampshire, and Theodore, right on, Russ, cool. Danny's great lesson starting third year, Guitar Tricks, finishing fundamentals 2 this week. Yeah, get going on that, Danny, so you can get into the blues level 1. Some good stuff. All right, Jim, yeah, appreciate it. Rumble, Peter, awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody, every one of you, a lot for showing up and attending. And feel free to give me some other ideas for subjects that we can go over. I know some of the viewers have commented on some things, and I've got them on little Post-its and on my list that eventually I'll get to creating some curriculum and covering some of those other subjects. But for the next bunch of weeks, let's stick with the blues and do some fun stuff. I'll give you everyone some great ideas and help you work through it. So have a great night and a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday night. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.